So, welcome everyone to Legacy of the Wizard, or just known in Japan, Dragon Slayer 4, Drazel Family. I'm Dragondarch, and on call with me I have Mr. Starbird, who is
Hi.
also very well versed in this game. He actually is the only one who's been insane enough so far to run the no pause jump category, which is something.
No, someone else runs it now too. So we got two people running it.
Oh wow, I didn't know what the second one.
I'm the only one crazy enough to run the MSX version.
This is true. That version is something.
Indeed,
I don't know what, but it's something.
It's a thing. It's not bad, but it's a thing.
But anyway, before I start the run, I want to mention that there is a lot of very precise manipulation in this. And while I'm doing said manipulation, Mr. Starbird is going to be handling most of the commentary. Because I can't, in a lot of spots, I cannot be off by like more than a frame or so and still get what I need. And it's a huge part of the run and saves like minutes. So I need to be focusing on all of that. So I may not be talking that much during this, but I know he should have pretty much all of this covered. So I'm gonna go ahead and reset and go ahead and get started. So ready on timer. 3, 2, 1, here we go.
Alright, so first thing he's going to be doing is he is actually going to be selecting the old man and basically canceling out. He's normally the password select person. Doing that resets the RNG value so that he can actually perform the manipulation. And for starters, because this is the any percent category, he's actually going to go with Lil. She's got the highest jump and the longest distance. So you're gonna see him not kill things immediately. He's gonna time things just right, and if he is off by a pixel or two, a frame or two, then he's gonna miss the manipulation. So there you see he's got this first scroll, and these scrolls do stack. So he's hoping to get as many as he can. And here he's gonna set up for another one, and he got it. So they stack up to 5 times, and as you can see, even getting 1 is gonna save you a ton of time. 2 is even better, and he's gonna try and set him up for the 3. I have a hard time with this one in particular because it's so finicky, but he's got that, so he's gonna grab this money here because everyone likes money. And there you go. So you got that, and when you get when you pick up a scroll, it actually resets the scroll timer. So even if you got like 1 second left on your scroll, excuse me, on your scroll speed. It'll stack and then reset the timer. So you'll see him go very fast up until a certain point. With any luck, he'll just continue to go fast throughout the entire thing.
Okay, looks like it's in the right spot. This next one is extremely hard to get. I believe it's frame perfect. I didn't get it.
Yeah, if he bonks anywhere, then getting that last one is going to be impossible. There is a treasure with a scroll here. I don't know if he's going to have enough time to reach it, especially where he's going to do. Nope, he's gone. So the sugar high is over with at this point.
Yeah, if I don't get that scroll that I was trying for, God, screw it. I'll just pause jump it. I was going to try and jump off the top of that enemy to get up there, but he wasn't cooperating, or I wasn't hitting it.
Yeah, one of the key mechanics in the any percent is what's known as the pause jump, and at first it looks a little difficult, but after you get the hang of it, it's not. It's actually easy to pull off. What you do is you pause the game as you're jumping and unpause it. You have to let yourself fall at least 1 pixel, and then you have to pause the game again. And as you unpause, as the screen is coming off to go to your play screen, you hold the jump button, and you'll be able to jump again, and you can infinitely chain that. And you'll see that used quite a bit in the any percent run.
Oh, come on, get up there, Lil.
And this will save Dragondarch from having to buy the spring shoes, which you do need in the no pause jump category and in the MSX version, because the MSX version does not actually have the this glitch. It does have a glitch though that basically lets you skip Arcwinger, but that's something altogether different. So what you're seing him do there, he all that money that he had, it's gone now. He had to buy a pickaxe or a mattock. I don't even know what I'm calling it a pickaxe because that's what it is.
I believe they call it the mattock.
Well, yes, we're gonna call it the mattock. That'll work. What this does is when and Lil's the only one that can use it. Any of those white and sometimes blue, they're different colored. You'll know, and he'll show you when they break them. But it breaks any block. At least any block that can be either moved or, you know. Yes, thank you. My northern accent can't pronounce things very well. like.
Alright, made it to the end, so I'm good.
Yeah, and this is a bit of a stretch here, going here, and he's got just enough money to stay at the end, because you can see his health was very low at that point. So here's the first chain of pause jumps that's going to skip a major section of the game, and normally this section you would need, you wouldn't be able to do this for starters. You'd actually have to take a different route altogether. And yeah, it's a pretty precise jump with the spring shoes to get to this point.
Oh, nice, made the frame perfect jump. There's two
Nice.
invisible blocks there that, with Lil, because of her jumping arc, you hit the ceiling and bounce back down really quick. And there's one frame where you can jump and actually still clear it.
Yeah, when I ran with any percent category, if you miss it, you can pause jump while you're in midair and try and correct yourself. With no pause jump, that you have to climb that back up. And when I ran this for no glitches allowed, I failed that a lot. So Terran Tunes is down, or the Scooter, as sometimes I call him. So here you're gonna
was the daughter's area. It was Lil's area. We're going to be doing another area with Lil, even though I'm not supposed to be. The next area I'm supposed to be doing with Pochi, but Pochi's jump is terrible and his distance is also terrible. And Lil can break blocks, which Pochi can't. But I'm going back on manipulation, so I'm going to stay quiet for a moment.
Yeah, he's starting off the manipulation again. He's gonna do something a little bit different here rather than the first one, because he actually has keys. So, and I'll explain how the drop counters work here in a moment. But I'll give him a moment to get these up. He's got his 2, and should get across. There we go, and there we go. There's the third scroll there. So, and don't let Dragondarch fool you with this. This is very hard to control at this speed. And if he gets one more scroll, which they can drop by luck without actually manipulating the RNG, it's very hard to control.
There's another scroll, so that's going to extend the timer.
So I believe this is scroll speed 4 at this point for him.
No, it capped out at 3.
It capped out at 3. Okay.
4 is only the chest scroll, which I didn't get in the last area.
Gotcha.
The big reason why this is Pochi's area is because the enemies do a ton of damage, and Pochi is immune to damage from normal enemies. The damage these enemies do is kind of indicative that, like, hey, you're supposed to be in here with a different character, not this one. Like, for instance, in this room here, there's going to be some comets flying around that you'll see in a moment that do 40 damage a hit. Thankfully, I can take one hit in case I get unlucky.
Yeah, you can see also that he's got another item equipped with him. That's the Elixir of Life. If he has that equipped, when he dies, he'll actually regain full health, which he's going to need that here because those mimics will one-shot anybody but Poaching.
They do 100 damage. Like, that's basically the final thing. Like, hey, you're supposed to have Pochi here. You're not getting the crown without him. These mimics will see to that. And that's the only way to get to that crown.
So here we have Erebone, and fairly easy fight. Just kind of do that. But yeah, just listen to what Dragondarch does, or just watch it. It's easy fight. He can, if you get caught up in him, he can do quite a bit of damage to you. But other than that, with Lil's distance, it's a rather easy fight.
All right, so we're gonna pick Lil a third time. Now she's gonna be doing Zem's area. which Zem's area revolves around block puzzles and being able to push the blocks, but we're just going to break them instead. And as usual, I'm going to be doing more manipulation here, so I'm going to shut back up.
So he's going to basically do a similar manipulation to what he did last time, as far as getting the first 3 scrolls. There's 1.
Nope, didn't hit it. Alright, so it's actually going to be faster in this case to backtrack to the house and reset the RNG than it is to keep going without the manipulation.
Yeah, I mean, you guys can see how fast they go with the scrolls. Imagine going through without the scrolls. You could probably go back to a time or 2 and still be ahead of where you'd be without one.
I believe it's twice I can go back and still not lose time. Okay, I'm going to wait for this scroll to wear out because it will mess with things. There we go.
Well, you could probably go back 4 times, but beginners like me...
No, I actually did time it out. It's roughly twice you have. This one, less so, because I just walked into the dungeon and it just didn't give me the right drop. I didn't hit it on the right frame.
And a lot of what the manipulation is right now that we have routed out is specifically more designed for Lil and Maina, the mother. Some of it's a lot harder to pull off if you're trying to do it with Zem or Pochi.
Yeah,
mainly
Zem's big
because
problem is you can only have one attack on screen. Pochi's problem is the distance.
Some of the manipulation can be done, but it's definitely a lot slower.
Okay, there we go.
So we're gonna hope for a cross. Actually, no, is he going? He's just going for it. Okay, he's not doing the same thing he did last time.
We don't get a cross on this one. Its cross is here.
Okay. That makes more sense. I gotta try that one.
But the reason why I wanted to hit all the manipulation for this section is because I get a chest scroll while under scroll speed 3. So here's scroll speed 4, which is 6 times normal walking speed. I can't even begin to stress how uncontrollable this is.
Yeah, this is ridiculously hard. This is something I programmed into the randomizer where you could actually maintain this speed throughout the entire game if you wanted. And that's quite tricky to do, that's for sure. A little fun fact, if you are using Zem and you have scroll speed 2 or higher, if you try pushing a block and use the attack at the same time, you can actually clip right through the block. It's kind of a handy trick to know in no pause jump, but where we're not using Zem here, yeah. But normally in a casual playthrough where you'd be using Zem and trying to manipulate or to move the block a certain way so you can advance through, Dragondarch's just going to use Lil and just say, nope, just break them. That's it. It's like in the words of Joe Piscopo, I can break it.
Oh, well, I was going to do Cat Boost, but Cat didn't cooperate.
Cat, please.
But yeah, scroll speed 4 is... like, it's so stupid hard to control it. Oh, come on, I didn't get in there. Okay, whatever, we'll just do one more pause jump.
In the casual playthrough, you actually have to take the blocks on the left side and basically kind of bridge your way through by jumping on... Using the glove mechanics with Zem are quite difficult. And being able to do this will definitely saves a lot of time and simplifies things. This scroll just says how nice of you to drop in, and now we're about ready to come to the block towers, which it's a very repetitive part. And if you're going to use Lil for this, you actually need the magic elixir, which is why he's stopping at the end here to readjust his inventory. That's not uncommon, Plexel. That is not uncommon for anybody to get lost casually playing this game. So I forgot to mention the other item that Dragondarch has here. He picked up in Pochi's area, and that's the Power Knuckle. And what that does is it quadruples your attack power. And in this game, damage is actually calculated on a per frame basis, so every frame that your attack is within the hitbox of the enemy, it's dealing damage. which is why characters with longer distances usually can pull out more damage. And which is why Pochi, even having a strength of 3, won't deal that much damage because he does not have that much distance to work with.
Although, even though his distance is low, he can rapid fire his shots, and if you just mash the button and you're inside of an enemy, they pretty much just die instantly.
This is true, unless you're trying to go with Erebone or Archwinger. I would not suggest going Archwinger with Pochi.
No, I wouldn't either.
Now, also, that's one of the downsides of having the scroll. It's the only downside of having scroll speed is that your shot distance, that also increases, but your shot speed goes up too. So that means the amount of time your attack is in someone's hitbox is actually reduced, so less damage. So you can see about halfway, actually a little more than halfway through, Dragondarch had to use the magic elixir. You can only use it when you're completely out of magic and it'll refill it completely. But if you don't have that, which you get in this dungeon, then you are essentially, wouldn't say essentially soft locked because you can die and reset, but yeah, you need it if you're going to use Lil.
Yeah, there's I'm trying to math on the fly here. There's, I believe, 117 of those blocks, and I only have 99 magic to work with.
In metric terms, that's a metric crapload of blocks.
Yes. The thing is with Zem is that his glove doesn't require magic, so he can just do it as much as he wants.
Yeah, but with the glove also, you can sometimes block your own path with because you have to end up pushing it left and that blocks you, which is why every ladder has a path going downward so it can basically reset the roam. All things considered, they did a real good job of programming this game.
Okay, so this detour here is actually a little bit of a safety. I don't want to die to the boss, and the boss does a crap load of damage. So I'm actually going to get a health refill here before fighting it, which I would not normally do if I were going for like a record attempt or something.
Yeah, Archwinger is the next boss coming up, and he's probably the toughest boss in the game.
He does 30 damage if you touch his body, and he does 20 with his shots.
Rock Gaia, the 4th boss, will do more damage, but you can cheese Rock Gaia pretty well. So you see he's going to keep firing there to kind of deflect the magic. Archwinger's going to bonk against that rock, and then he's going to turn around, and when that time comes, you switch to the glove, fire away, and hope you have enough magic, which Dragondarch looks like he had barely enough to finish it.
Yeah, if I have over 40, I can usually get him without too many problems, but anything under that is kind of risky. Alright, so now we're done with Lil. Finally. We're gonna use Maina now. Zem and Pochi see no action, but Maina's gonna go through her area of the intended way, because she is actually the only one who can go through her area.
Yeah, Maina's arsenal is actually very interesting. The item on the first item he has is the wings, which will allow Maina to basically fly in any direction. The second one, which he's got highlighted right now, is a crossbow, which is another block moving item, but and you'll see how fun the crossbow is. The third one is the magic key, which will allow you to open a door without expending any of your keys. You will lose magic in doing so, 1 point per door, but with as many doors as there are in Maina's area, if you don't have it, you're going to be out a lot of keys.
Actually, RPG fan, Lil cannot go through Maina's area because there's some areas that require you have wings. That's the only reason Lil can't do it.
Yeah, there's a couple of spots, I think 1 or 2 or maybe 3. But if there are spikes and basically a 1 tile gap between the spikes and the ceiling, you can't go through without the wings. You're gonna basically just lock yourself there until you die. If it weren't for that, then yeah, you could use Lil up until you need to get the Dragon Slayer. So yeah, the crossbow, when you go up against the block, it's just going to shoot back and forth. And
Right. Perfect. Got the scroll here. That's why I reset it, is I wanted to get all of those scrolls, because this is going to save so much time.
yeah, this the way Dragondarch does his scroll manipulation is nuts. It's very difficult to hit the first few, but to get him this far out you have to be frame perfect throughout that entire part, at least close to it, if not exactly.
Okay, so they wear off right there. I'm going to actually start killing things again. I only need 2 more gold drops for the rest of the run, so I'll pick up anything I see from there. And then beyond that point, I'm only going to bother picking up scrolls if I happen to see them.
Yeah, the general rule of Legacy of the Wizard is if you see Taquito, which is another term for scroll, you go back for it.
Taquitos are delicious.
They are, and much like real taquitos, they do make you run.
I think I have enough health not to skip safety health this time.
And shoutouts to Yuzo Koshiro. Any Streets of Rage fans out there with the music, this is actually one of his first compositions, and this the one thing that at least this game's praised about, even though it's a complex game just to pick up, the music's wonderful.
Oh yeah, the music in this game is absolutely great. I mean, then again, most Falcom games have a really good soundtrack, so...
The sad part is, though, is that the NES version is missing soundtracks compared to the MSX version. And in the MSX version, Pochi's area is quite a bit different. Maina's area music, which is this one, is actually a little more extended, but each boss has their own track. And if you get a chance to listen to Arkwinger's track, go for it. It's probably my favorite boss track that I wish the NES had. Basically, at this point, he's gonna only take another couple in shots here. He's got 30 gold. That should be enough to last him throughout the rest of the game.
I got 1 more from Maina and then 1 with Roas. So now all I care about is scroll drops.
And we're coming up to the point right here where we absolutely need the wings. Yeah, because if you don't have the wings where those, where that spike floor was, where that ceiling, you're just gonna lock yourself right there.
Yeah, you when you hit spikes, it bounces you up in the air a little bit, and if you can't bounce up, it just won't let you walk over them.
I mean, there is a way you can not take damage from spikes, which is if you're on a spike, if you hold the up button, then you won't take damage from it. However, you still will bounce. So with the wing, or with the wings, you're gonna see that Dragondarch's not gonna use pause jumping because you don't need to at that point. He'll go back to pause jumping when he has to get the Dragon Slayer. Getting to the end part of this dungeon, there's only about 2 screens left, and the enemies here are gonna start hitting hard. So, but he's experienced enough to know how his life can handle at this point. Usually, by the time I go through it, I take a few more hits than I need to.
Yeah, I'm usually pretty comfortable with my life going through here. The stay at the inn basically negates any worries I might have had. I'll pick that up.
Now, a cross luck here would be nice. Like that. Wow, did I call that? Now, a scroll would be nice right around here, too.
Nah, they're just giving me money. I'm not going to make it to the last enemy before the drops disappear. So, no more scrolls for now.
Oh, 1 for 2 ain't bad, I guess.
I mean, right there, the scroll drop isn't really that big of a deal anyway. Because I'm going to run through... Because I have to do this now. So you lose most of it just waiting on that block to stop moving and then to all these key doors.
Oh, that's another thing I do want to mention about scroll speed, is that going into bosses with scroll speed is not a good idea, if you can help it.
No, you want it to wear off so your shots are actually doing maximum damage, so they move slower and stay in the boss's hitbox longer.
Yes, there's that, and also with Arcwinger, if you have scroll speed going into it, it's harder to kind of manipulate him where to go, because normally you'd like him to bounce off that ledge. If you go in with scroll speed into it, he'll go under it and he'll just chase you and kill you. I learned that the hard way.
Okay, so I'm taking a bit of a safety here. Normally I'd keep the wings just so I don't have to pause jump out of that. But I pause jumped out and took the elixir because I want it as a safety for this next boss. This boss can kill me after I've killed him. And I obviously don't want that to happen. Oop. That was my mistake. I forgot to turn the key wand back on.
Yeah, ties go to the boss in this game, so if you double KO, you lose.
Get that. That's fine.
All bosses are jerks in this game, that is true. Arcwinger's probably the biggest jerk, I'd say. Rock Guy, at least on the bright side, his magic attack is slow.
That's why I have the elixir.
Yeah, that's unfortunately. Thankfully, he's got the elixir. Let's just hope he doesn't get double tapped again. I've had that happen too, but basically you could just get into that little corner right there, put on your power knuckle, and just blast away at him at that point.
You can take 2 hits without dying after reviving with the elixir, but that's it. But that's why I grabbed that extra elixir, because that boss can do that. In a record attempt, I wouldn't. I just pray that it doesn't happen. But for marathon runs, I make sure I pick that up.
Now you'll notice that he went back in with Maina to pick up 2 keys. I was going to explain that a little bit earlier, and I think I got sidetracked, which doesn't surprise me. There's a drop table in this game, basically, and the first rule says that if you have 1 or 0 keys, when you kill an enemy, you're going to get a key. After you get 2, then it's going to basically determine what your next need is, basically either gold, magic, or health. And at that point, if you're technically over a certain threshold, then it's going to basically give you one of the other items at random, which scroll, poison, cross, ring, any like that.
Right, so I was a little late on killing that first enemy there. That's why I didn't get the scroll drop. If I get poison, it's late. If I get gold, it's early.
Something like that, RPG fan. Now you notice the other item he took here was the crystal. Basically the crystal will warp you out of the dungeon back to home, which will save him a lot of time after he gets the Dragon Slayer.
Well, I'm off the manipulation already. Oh well. This section, it doesn't matter as much. Unless I bounce off 2 bats, okay, that's fine.
Bats, please. So normally, you probably noticed these portraits hanging around every so often. You have to have 4 crowns and have the crown in your inventory in order to use it. And basically, it just teleports you to certain places. And when you're casually playing through this game, this is where you can get lost very easily, because you have to get to a certain portrait and teleport one place, go to another portrait. And it's a chain of events that eventually leads to this spot that Dragondarch just pause jumping to, and saving a lot of time. It's not that easy in no pause jump, but you can see right there, Dragon Slayer, boom, crystal, out.
Yeah, so hitting the scroll manipulation for this part isn't that big of a deal, because I still cross. Because as soon as I get to the pillar, I lose basically all the scroll speed. The timer continues running while you're in the pause menu. So I lose basically all of the timer to pause jumping.
So we're actually wrapping up here. He's gonna stop at the end one more time so we can actually pick up the Dragon Slayer. And then we're gonna take on the giant Durgan here. And hopefully he'll hit the quick kill.
No, hopefully I won't hit the quick kill, because the quick kill means you double KO, and versus the final boss, you do not win ties.
Okay, a semi-quick kill then.
Alright, the time is coming right up.
So you have to have the Dragon Slayer equipped to actually activate this. He's going to try and get in between the fire and the dragon itself, and just continue nailing with it. Now, if you do kill the dragon, like that.
That was way more dangerous than I'm used to, because normally I don't take as many hits as he's bouncing me across the screen, but I was at 1 health going over the left side, so it's like, I gotta play safe.
Yeah, because if that dragon lands on top of you during its death animation, you will take you'll take all the damage, and you will die, and where he didn't go back to the house after getting the Dragon Slayer, he would have to go do that again. So that was a good run.
Yeah, that was sub 30. I'm happy with. I pretty much hit all the manipulations. I just didn't. I had to reset one of them a couple times, which isn't uncommon, because that first one, I think the window for getting a scroll on that is like 3 frames or something. It's not very big, so it's not surprising that I sometimes miss my timing on that.
Yeah, it's not uncommon in PB attempts to reset a million times too, just to try and get the right frames on the manipulation. Well, it's not uncommon for me to do that anyway.
It's not uncommon for me to do that either, because I mean, the first I'm pretty accustomed to getting the first one without too much difficulty. It's being able to maintain the entire string until I'm at the end of what I can manipulate at this point. And most resets go to getting that very last scroll at the beginning of Lil's area that I didn't get this time. To give an idea of how much time that one scroll saves, I got to the inn at about 4:20 this time. Normally I'm getting to that inn, if I hit all the manipulation, at a little over 3 minutes. One scroll really makes a difference.
Yeah, and if you're just starting out with the game in general, and if you're going to start out running this game, don't worry too much about the scroll manipulation itself. Get used to the dungeon layouts and everything else and the bosses. After you get that taken care of, then you can kind of weave in the scroll manipulation, but one piece at a time on this, because this is as easy as Dragondarch made this game look. It's a fun run, but it requires a lot of attention to detail. Yeah,
the manipulation, like, there wasn't manipulation initially, and then a Japanese runner who I don't know what his name is, unfortunately, but he had a run-up on Nico video that had some interesting manipulation in it that me and Fiesel were working on it a while back, and I managed to beat his run with that route. And then as I put my run up, he had already done another one that used basically this route. So I went in, or rather Fiesel and I both went in, and we made some improvements, mostly to Lil's area, and I managed to take the record from him. For reference, the record's a 23:44, which is insane given how difficult this run is. But as we mentioned earlier, the manipulation in this is in some cases nearly frame perfect, and managing to hold on to it for minutes at a time this is easily one of the hardest speedruns I do. Like, there's not much help that comes close to how precise I have to be.
Shoutouts to Produce.
Yes, shoutouts to Produce. I'm pretty sure that's the guy who just ran out and got food for them at lunch.
I can imagine. At least they were eating healthy.
Yeah, he just told them to go to the market, hit the produce section. But yeah, that's all I got for this.